the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo.
Hey everybody, welcome back again. It's our Friday live stream for OIW and Everything Grunt Style Foundation. Here with me today is my good friend Mr. Roy Bowen, who leads all of the Reverent Warriors work in the St. Louis region, and he's kind of the backbone of the group and that program. And also joining us today, we have Lieutenant Colonel Beth Sweet, who is retired and now doing some incredible work in the area of veteran entrepreneurship. And we're going to be talking with Beth about that and everything that she's doing here a little later in the show. So let's just jump into it. Roy, what do you think, man? You got a big weekend planned?
Big weekend planned. I get out of here, jump right in the car, off to the Milwaukee hike.
Good Lord.
This weekend.
Now, how are you making it back from Milwaukee in time for Sunday?
Leaving very early in the morning.
Oh, man. Yeah. You want to tell people what we're doing on Sunday? That's pretty cool. I mean, I'd drive from Milwaukee back for that.
Fair. Actually, the tickets are still available. If anybody wants to hop on VetTix, they've got tickets in St. Louis for the Guns N' Roses concert at Busch Stadium on Sunday. It's like $15 for 2 tickets.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. We can go watch. Of course, I don't know. Is Axel still got the pipes? Is he at the $15? Is that a fair price for Axel now?
I mean, I don't really care. I'm going to hear Slash.
Yeah, Slash is always good. He doesn't. Yeah,
you get better with age. I mean, when I saw Santana a couple years ago, that man was amazing.
Well, that's all the drugs he does. That's probably Slash is going to have rheumatoid arthritis at some point. It's going to compromise that guitar playing somehow.
I'm not entirely sure I want to compare their drug usage.
That would be a clash of the titans, man. Or at least if you count Night Train whiskey and all that good stuff, maybe. I don't know. Well, all right. Well, hey, what do we got going on in IW land? Let's start. Let's just kick off straight into that today. What all's kicking where?
So our big things coming up. We got the Milwaukee hike this weekend. We have Detroit and Portsmouth both coming up next week. It's 29th. And then the following weekend we have Boise and Chattanooga wrapping those up. And then we're going to roll back to the Midwest for a whole bunch of other hikes.
Yeah.
And integration.
Integration's coming up, man. I'm excited. We're going to talk to Mr. Justin Zekarevich in just a little while, who runs all things integration for the foundation. So that's going to be good coming up on that. What are you doing up in Milwaukee?
Well, this is their annual hike for Milwaukee. And we've got all the T-shirts that we produce down here in the warehouse for them.
Oh, yeah. You got an example?
I don't.
Not on you?
They're already packed up.
Okay. Well, they're ready to go. So you're ready to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're on the way out of here, man. All right. How long of a drive is it up there to Milwaukee?
6 hours.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot further than that.
I thought that too before.
Yeah. Well, that's something, man. Okay. Well, send everybody, give them our best from down here. And how many hikes have you done this year now? My God, it's like you're always at a hike.
Commonly at a hike or something IW related on the weekends.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, pretty much.
I think 5 this year now.
Oh, that's good, man. That's well, you're keeping the roads hot. No grass growing on those busy highways, huh?
Not on the tires, for sure.
What else you got going on at IW? Anything of recently happened we want to tell the audience about? Some victory laps we can take, feathers in the cap?
Well, I did see for the whole veteran community, the FDA is finally actually doing the paperwork to move marijuana down to Schedule 3.
Oh, really? That's when's that going to take place?
I didn't read too far into the article, didn't have time, but it was saying that they were in the process of actually doing it.
Yeah, it's inevitable at this point, man. It's still because the hardest part on the whole cannabis issue is that the stuff has been Scheduled 1. So you can't really do any research. And so when you try to talk about the benefits of the endocannabinoid system, which your body is designed to work with this plant, you can't point at any research because it's all Scheduled 1. So they just shut you down. Like you don't believe in Santa Claus or something like that.
Yeah, and in most of the Western world, you can't do, everybody signed, there was some UN treaty in the 70s where they all agreed not to research on things and cannabis is in it. It's like, come on, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I wonder who's behind that. I don't know. I got some usual suspects right at the top of the list. But well, that's good news, man, because I tell you what, once we start getting more and more and more of this clinical research out there, maybe we can correct for the reefer madness hemp stuff that's going on across the country right now. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they are trying to regulate hemp products without any THC in it, trying to get this stuff going solely through dispensaries if it is above a certain super small threshold of THC, which that would envelop and include all of our full spectrum CBD stuff, which there's literally no way to get intoxicated from that. But by removing that THC, you're removing all the good benefits of what's in that, all the entourage effect that makes that stuff helpful. So it's like our medical system is designed to just try to bleed us dry of money up until the point we're about to die, and then they're going to sell you more pills to keep you stringing along, but in a very uncomfortable position until you're of no use, and then they'll just transition you over to hospice.
Giving away the whole playbook, man.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to. That's kind of my mom's going through a lot of this stuff right now, you know. And I mean, it's terrible, man. I'm speaking a little personally on there, but that damn situation is any route you take, you're going to get financially ruined. And eventually, you're going to end up losing your livelihood and your home and all the things you worked for. I mean, we got to come up with something better than this, man. This is just disgusting stuff. It's just absolutely intolerable. But it is what it is. So, at least it is what it is for now. But, all right, folks, there we have everything from the old IW land. And you had mentioned integration. You want to tell us a little bit about that and set up to bring on Mr. Justin?
Sure. Justin, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder here before, sir. But integration is the premier, in my opinion, veteran first responder community space introductory event for alternative modes of healing. So it's a great eye-opener and awakener for everything that is out there that you never even knew about.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Roy, everybody. If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. And right now we're going to bring on to the virtual stage here Mr. Justin Zakarevich. How are you doing, Justin? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, everybody. I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to this integration weekend down in Quiver River Park, the weekend of the 18th to the 20th. And like Roy was saying, this is a really potent sampler platter of different healing modalities from everything from cold plunges, which some people are more familiar with, to more exotic transformational breath work and equine therapy. We've got a large list of competent facilitators introducing all kinds of different modalities. We have opportunities for sweat lodge and some sound healing, a lot of demystification around the various plant medicine modalities. I myself will be talking about ayahuasca. We have people coming to talk about 5-MeO DMT and other frog medicines like combo. There'll be some live demonstrations of combo for people to watch, participants to watch. The lovely folks from Tribal Detox will be participating in setting up a little frog town where their trained facilitators will be demonstrating on each other application of combo, so that will add a level of demystification for people that are maybe interested in. Overall, a really powerful event. Last year was great. We're expecting this year to be even better. Drum making workshops. We've partnered with a couple of veteran-owned farms to bring some beautiful regenerative agriculture to our meal plan offering. We've got Ranch and Rifle coming up, donating their time to help us in the kitchen to prepare lovely meals for everybody to participate in. And yeah, it's going to be a really great event. Well-rounded, a lot of downtime for the veterans and first responders to mingle, to talk with each other, to share experience, to get outside of their comfort zone, try some new things, get a different idea of what's out there as far as things that can really take the edge off. Even if we can help to bring the level down internally, the pressure down, even 5 to 10%, that can be a life-changing amount. And a lot of these modalities are designed to be sustainable. They're designed to be accessible at home. Cold plunges, most people have access to a bathtub, things like that. Breath work, everybody's got lungs. If you got the ability to breathe, you can do breath work pretty much anywhere. So that's the goal of these practices, is to give people tools for their toolkit to help them to manage stress and trauma. And it's going to be a really great event. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for sharing all of that. Integration is my very, very most favorite time of the year. It is a magical experience. My heart is happy the whole time I'm there. And man, we've done some cool stuff there. It sounds like there's going to be some of that returning back. I know last year we had the opportunity. Our friends from Pine Ridge out in South Dakota came down and showed us how to make drums, and we actually had about the most premium frame I think that money can buy that we sourced for that class, and we had several buffalo hides, and we made some buffalo hide drums with our Lakota friends out there, and those were super popular. I heard you say drums. Are we doing that again this year?
Yep, we'll be doing a drum and rattle making workshop. Jalen, Garnett is coming back from Pine Ridge, our Lakota friend, to lead Inipi Sweat Lodge and to teach about Lakota medicine wisdom and spiritual practices. He's a very knowledgeable individual. We've had the opportunity to spend some time with him. I was out at a Sundance that he ran just a few weeks ago, so that was an intense experience. I was out there with Tim Jensen. We ended up dancing in the Sundance, getting a little of that Lakota medicine out there. So overall, we're stoked to have him back.
Tell us. We referenced that quite a bit, and I wasn't able to make the Sundance this year. I've got some family health issue stuff that prevented me from making that trip. So I was going to dance this year, but I know you and Tim stepped into the gauntlet there and entered the arbor of the lodge, and you all danced. Can you tell us a little bit what that experience was like?
Oh yeah, of course. It was really intense. I went with the intention of observing and seeing what the practice and the ritual aspects were going to be like overall. And after speaking with Jalen, he was like, "Oh, okay, you're going to dance," and I was like, "All right, well, buy the ticket, take the ride." And Tim had already committed to dancing, so we stepped into, like you said, the gauntlet. And it's 4 days of dancing. We had weather was all over the place. The first day of dancing out in the sun, it was in the 60s, so everybody was pretty chilly. And then it quickly ramped up, and I think the hottest it got over the course of that 4 days was about 115. Somebody clocked the temperature,
Good Lord.
and everybody's dancing barefoot in the hot sun. And it's like imagine the hottest beach day that you've ever been to. It's like dancing on the sun. And there's a large central tree where everybody's prayers are tied up. And they did some various piercing, which is a big sacrifice in the Sundance. The Sundance is the pinnacle of the Lakota ceremonies throughout the year. And it's kind of all of the other ceremonies work up to the Sundance being kind of the biggest prayer that they do for the year. And in the Sundance, people dance, they fast, they abstain from water, and the drumming and the trance dancing helps to bring people into an altered state. And then the biggest sacrifice that can be made in that space is to get pierced, and people will get pierced in different parts of their bodies, on their chest. I got pierced on my arm. And then the piercing gets tied to a rope that's tied to the tree, and they dance and they dance and they dance until this piercing rips out. I witnessed quite a few people get suspended in the air and basically like moonwalk while they were hanging from these piercings. So overall, really a metal experience, super intense. And I think it's not a thing for everybody, but I think the people that it is for, it's really for. I met a lot of interesting folks that were, on that red road path, on that hard path, and a lot of wisdom there, a lot of beauty and power, and definitely a bit of a culture shock for most people. I've had a lot of opportunity to travel the world and to see different cultures, so. Even that was it was quite an experience to go to Sundance.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and that's a big build up, and it sounds quite remarkable and kind of scary at the same time. If all those things are involved, what's the idea behind that? Like, why would someone want to make that kind of an offering? What is the benefit from that? What is the purpose of doing that? How do you understand that?
So from my understanding, this type of sacrifice that people will make to get pierced is not super common. There's a lot of different Sundances that happen. This was a kind of a smaller family style gathering. There are some larger ones, Crow Dogs Sundance. There's some Sundances in different parts of the Southwest that are larger, where most people won't try to attempt piercing. Most people will just dance. They'll practice abstaining from food and water as much as they can, depending on the weather and their own constitution. And a lot of the folks that I spoke with there, the older indigenous folks that had been practicing the Sundance for many years and had been pierced many times, they shared that this is a way to amplify their prayers. A lot of them were piercing to help their family members. So their thought behind that whole process is that the pain that they endure and the sacrifice that they make going without food and water and dancing to these powerful medicine songs for days on end helps to bring them closer to God in a certain way, closer to Creator. And that method of endurance and deprivation from food and water, and the pain of the piercings themselves, and the symbolic tie to the central tree, which is the axis mundi. It's their tree of life. They erect this tree in the center of the ceremonial space. So it's a physical direct tie from their body to the Creator up to heaven. So it's a lifeline to them. It's a way to amplify their prayers, and it's an ancient spiritual technology. A lot of different cultures, spiritual cultures and traditions and religions have self-flagellation as a component to help to bring people that are praying into an altered state of consciousness. A lot of those practices developed where there was not access to psychedelic plants or animal medicines. So they used what vehicles they could with fasting and things like that. It's a relatively widespread, albeit each area of the world that these different practices come from has their own bent on how they interpret that. But it's a pretty common thing for fasting to be a part of heightened spiritual ritual work, and self-sacrifice and self-flagellation or ritual pain is a method for changing someone's consciousness to a non-standard operating system.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot, but yeah, that's a excellent overview, Justin, of kind of what all that thing's about. And next year will be our 5th year going out there. So any veterans in the IW community that would like to come along to the Sundance out in South Dakota, we'd love to have you. We'll be heading out there. It'll be about the last part of July again, and it's an amazing experience, man. It is a deeply spiritual experience. It is a different way of praying. It's a different way of just observing different elements of our life. I know my first year out there, I had a family member that was in pretty serious, dire straits kind of a situation, and Jalen, who's just absolutely just a tremendously wonderful spiritual man that runs that Sundance out there. He led a lot of prayers for that family member that I had at that time, and frankly, man, when I came home, I wasn't expecting that family member to still be there, but they're still going today, and they had a miraculous turnaround during that time, and the health caught up to them. And then this past year, I wasn't able to go down there. My mother was very ill, and I know that many prayers were said there for my mother, and thank you all for that and carrying those prayers into that. And it is a powerful experience, everybody. If you have a chance to go down there, man, I highly encourage everybody to do it. It is remarkable. It's something to see. It's something very few people are ever so privileged to be able to see, let alone participate in. So yeah, thank you for that report, my friend. What do you want to tell us about integration? What do we need to know for those that are thinking of coming? How do they get tickets, and what's the details?
Hey, Will, let me plug in something there for just a second.
Sure.
Hey, if you're interested in going to the Sundance next year and you're from the IW community, go ahead and send an email to info@irreverentwarriors.com. Reference the subject matter of the following year's trip to Sundance, and we'll get back with you on that information. But just wanted to get that plug in.
Yeah.
Since we did that.
Yeah, thank you, man. We got to get that pathway built.
Right, and one more thing about the Sundance, the piercing thing is not a required way to participate.
Right.
It's not an expectation that you will get that piercing. That's kind of
and not an integration either.
No, we're not doing any piercings at integration. No, absolutely not. No,
Yes, yes.
there
Two
will
separate events there, integration and the Sundance. But no, but it's a good. The integration event that we're talking about now is a great introduction to that spiritual tradition, that modality of healing, and it's just one among many. So, how many instructors do we have lined up this year for that?
We've got about 20. There's still some last minute latecomers popping in. There's bound to be some that have family emergencies and things that kind of cancel out at the last minute, but we're sitting right around 20. And if there's anybody who has been on the fence about whether they want to present something that they've been cultivating in themselves or practice that they've been honing for many years, there is still time to reach out. I am still reviewing some of the facilitator applications, but right now we've got about 20, which is a pretty good stack of diverse people. And yeah, it's going to be a great event. The tickets are available on the Grunt Style Foundation website. If you go under the events link, you will find information about the various facilitators. You'll find information of where to buy the tickets to come, and the camping is all in cabins, and it's going to be a really beautiful weekend. I've had the pleasure of going a couple of times so far to this event, both presenting and now directing this event, and I'm very much looking forward to meeting everybody that's new, that's getting introduced, and seeing all of the returning faces of all the folks that are getting so much out of these interactions.
Yeah, man. Thank you for doing that too, man. It's this has been a passion project of mine. Most of the instructors from the first year when we ran the initial pilot, these were all people that were my teachers in my journey of trying to find healing and all the toxic exposure issues that I had to deal with and all the other things. And so I've been very fortunate to really come into contact with some of the top shelf, incredible folks that are out there doing that kind of work. And so that's who formed that initial cohort of people that are instructing. And a lot of those same faces are going to be back again this year. And we got some new faces coming in. So again, everybody, you can get your tickets over there at gruntstylefoundation.org. And we hope to see you over at Integration, and follow along here on this social media channel platform for whenever we drop the instructor catalog, and you'll be able to get a good look at who all is doing what this year. And one more time, Justin, the dates and the location for those listening at home.
It's in Troy, Missouri at Quiver River State Park, and it's the weekend of the 18th to the 20th. And more information is available online as far as what to expect with lodging and food options and all that stuff. It's all up on the website now live.
Fantastic. September 18th through the 20th, folks, here in Troy, Missouri. Get your tickets now, again, at gruntstylefoundation.org. And Justin, with that, we're going to let you go. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on today and telling us all about the Sundance and what's coming here with the integration event. We look forward to seeing you, and we'll catch you then.
Thanks, everybody.
So now, everybody, we're going to introduce our good and new, recently added to the party friend, Miss Lieutenant Colonel. Do you say Miss before you say rank?
I just say Colonel Sweet.
Okay, I don't hang out with all those top brass types people. I'm on the more seedy side of things.
As long as we put the retired on the end part, so
then cool?
then I'm cool.
All right, so we got Colonel Beth Sweet, and she is a retired U.S. Army, and she has a very interesting background. She was a Russian and Spanish linguist. So you were over there in the intel side of the game. Huh?
That's right. In the intelligence field. That is not where I started out. I started out in transportation, and somehow I got recruited into the intel field.
How does that work? How do you get recruited into the intelligence field?
A conversation at a football game. Isn't
really?
that interesting? Yeah, sitting there at the Florida State University football game, and someone says, "Hey, what you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go in the Army and transportation," and that's not what happened. So they convinced me to go actually into the National Guard and into the linguist program, and sent me off to California to learn another language. My base language was Russian, and they sent me off to learn Spanish, of all things. But boy,
So you were already speaking Russian?
I was. That was
that's why you recruited
my
you. Yeah.
area of study. And
So where did that come from? Let's talk about that for a minute. Where in the world did you get an interest in Russian?
oh, absolutely. So my family actually has a background there. So I knew a little bit as a kid. And when I got into school, I mean, it's like a puzzle. Russian is like a puzzle. It's a lot of math. And it was just very interesting to me, the language, the literature, et cetera. And just like we talked about in the integration thing, there's things that just open up in your life when you experience new cultures and new information. And so that was what really drew me there: the poetry, the readings, and all of that. So
So you did when you went out to California. I've heard people that do the linguist stuff. That's a big deal getting out there to that school. How long is that program?
that was amazing. So the Spanish program is usually 6 months, and I got to go as a lieutenant, if you can believe that. Lieutenant's in trouble for a year. So there was a year-long study for Spanish, and then when I got out of there, I was what they call a 3-3 linguist. That means the people can't tell that you are not a native speaker
Really?
of the language.
You did that in
And
6 months?
in 6 months,
Holy cow.
absolutely. They really, it's a very intense program, just amazingly intense.
So
No fooling around there.
So do you have an accent with your Russian or your Spanish?
Do not have an accent with my Spanish. That
you're
is the
3-3 there.
amazing. Yes. And oftentimes people will say, "Hey, where are you from? You know, where are you from?" They can't tell.
Wow,
And that's the point.
Yeah. Do you make stuff up? Just tell them like crazy things?
Oh, I let them guess.
Yeah.
I let them keep guessing. It's always good to, keep them guessing a little bit.
All right. So what were the years you were in the military? From when to when?
Gracious. Yeah. So I came in 1989 and I retired in 2022.
Oh man, so you hit the whole gambit.
I had 33 years solid service. I was actually in the Reserve and National Guard the whole time.
Wow.
But with that, you get to go participate in every single event that goes on in those
Yes,
years.
that is right. And there was a lot going on in those years in particular.
Absolutely.
But how fascinating is that? I mean, you started out, the Soviet threat was a big deal for those of us that remember that era of what that was like. I remember when I went to basic training in '92, we were still shooting at the Ivans. They had the little Russian Soviet targets with the little communist star on the head. And before you could join, you had to swear all the things that you had no affiliations with all those folks. And then we became friends after the Cold War collapsed.
Frenemies. Those
yeah.
are all things you have to keep in mind, right? The world
Right.
is constantly changing. Well, when I went to my officer basic course for intelligence, we were still studying about the Fulda Gap. How are the Russians going to go through? And learning about their templates, their fighting templates, and their logistics templates, and the whole bit. So by the end of my 6-month school there, I was working with a very interesting British intelligence officer, helping him write the insurgent coin field manual.
Really?
So we were using information from the wars, Northern Ireland, et cetera, and all of that work there. So I got assigned before I went to language school to work with him for a few months and to actually write some of those manuals, which is, I never thought that at that time, 9/11 wasn't in the books, wasn't even in any, nobody was envisioning that at all. Amazing that we had to go back and use those manuals in the next, 20-some years.
Everything's come full circle. We're back to where are we, frenemies now? Or are we enemies again? What are we now?
That's a big question, right?
If you
And
can-
so,
all the propaganda around it, you don't know what to believe. Like, who's doing what? Were the Russians trying to interfere in our elections, or were we using the Russians as we interfered in our own elections? Like, it's crazy town.
everyone has an agenda in one way or another. And what's really interesting is that to go back and look at history, I mean, this thing with Russia and Ukraine didn't start yesterday.
Right.
It's thousands of years.
Yeah.
And so really to get in the hearts and minds of each of those, and then to lay on modern dynamics of our governmental systems on top of those really ancient feelings and beliefs, that's what just creates this interesting and tragic, unfortunately, dynamic that's happening
You
now.
probably have a very unique perspective on it because you speak the language, right? So you're probably, I'm assuming, I don't know, but if I were you and I had that skill, I'd be reading all the media and trying to see what the other side of the coin looks like and how it's being presented. What does that look like when you do those things?
Oh, it's really I go back and forth because as much as there is information out there, there's misinformation with regards to. I mean, the Russians are great at propaganda, as is the Ukrainians.
We're pretty good too.
We're pretty good too,
Yeah.
and so really getting to listen to some of the original broadcast and talk to friends who have family still in those regions. You get different perspectives, and even with all of that information, it's so difficult for one to make form an opinion that's consistent.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely the only thing I could say is get as much information and think about it. This is not our culture. So it's, we talked about understanding the Lakota culture. Same thing. I mean, you really have to get into it and understand to really understand kind of the fulfillment of what their beliefs are and how they're approaching problems. I don't think the Western world can understand that quite.
I would imagine that the Russian mind is pretty pragmatic, pretty stoic, pretty serious. There's not, I have a hard time thinking of what a Russian joke would be like if someone were telling me, or
They're dirty. Russian jokes, very dirty.
They don't have the kid jokes.
Rogan did a thing on that a couple of years ago, I think.
What's that?
So Rogan did a thing on Russian humor.
Really?
Russian stand-up thing.
Yeah?
It basically didn't exist until they took it there in the early 2000s.
Really?
Yeah, they had no stand-up community all there.
Oh, can you verify
That's
that? You're an
amazing.
expert. Is that
Yeah, so I don't know. I never went to Comedy Central there in Russia or
that's
in
true.
Moscow. I don't know. People are kind of like tight-lipped and looking over their shoulders and whatnot. But
Well, how is it now? I mean, you see videos. I remember when I was a kid growing up, like my concept of what Russia was like was based off the Clint Eastwood movie Firefox, where he was trying to smuggle the cool MiG out of Russia.
right.
You remember that?
Yes,
and it's like, my
absolutely.
God, what a bleak, horrible place. Like, how is everybody not just super depressed all the time? Now I see videos and stuff. I'm like, man, they looks like
Yeah.
they've got a cool thing going on over there.
they're a modern society for sure. Let's see, the last time I was there was in 1999, and very interesting. That's where kind of there's this whenever there's a change in leadership and culture, et cetera, you really get to see kind of like I got a little taste of the underworld over there while I was visiting. But you can find any experience you like there in Russia these days.
I bet that's probably true.
And but they are very mathematical, just like their language, very pragmatic, very. But at the same time, they have a very soft spiritual heart.
Really?
Yes,
Are
they do.
Primarily Orthodox?
They're Orthodox. I'm Orthodox as well,
nice.
so I understand that part very much. So there's that deep spiritual peace that they have as well. Probably that's what keeps them going through all of that, through their revolution, through the cold weather, through everything that goes on. A deep belief in family and God. So,
Yeah, that's interesting too. Is I know my travels with the military. The military sent me a lot of places in my earlier years before the global war on terror kicked off. I was in all through the '90s, so I did some time in Israel and Egypt and the Sinai and South America and all these places we don't really go the way we used to. That was all 9/11s, pre 9/11. So I mean, they were letting us do crazy stuff that they would never let you do now. Like 2 PFCs and a specialist go to Cairo for 6 days and just whatever. But it's not that way anymore. But my takeaway was everything looked Catholic in terms of spirituality and seeing churches and things like that. And then I found myself in the Sinai at St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai. And to me, it looked Catholic, but it was Greek Orthodox, and I did not know that. And that is the oldest standing Christian structure that has been in continual use in history anywhere. It's the big
Absolutely.
one, and it was beautiful. And I ran into a monk from Boston, Massachusetts there, oddly enough. And he
Yes.
was like, wow, American soldiers are on Mount Sinai. I was like, wow, some guy from Boston.
Probably from Holy Transfiguration Monastery in Boston. Likely.
you're really
so
plugged in, huh?
I'm plugged in there. So there's actually a big resurgence of exploration in the Christian faith in this country, Orthodoxy being one of them.
Yeah.
And, there's even in town here, St. Louis, there's a talk that's going on the 19th of September I can give you that link there for Matt in the protection of the nativity of the Virgin Mary. They're having a talk to allow people to explore what Orthodox Christianity is.
Oh, that's super cool.
Getting the hearts and the minds of what the Russians are
Yeah.
working with, and then so it's just amazing. I mean, I'm so glad you had that opportunity to see such an ancient temple, if you will.
In a weird way, it impacted me. Of course, as my ignorance, I was young and I thought it was Catholic, so I converted to Catholicism after that, even though I still was aware that it wasn't. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole other.
That's
rabbit hole to
another
go
topic.
to.
That's
But
another
it's so
topic.
fascinating when you get into that stuff and like your horizons expand and you're like, oh my God, there's so many different ways to look at this stuff, and maybe we don't have the market cornered on what's true everywhere, so
Right,
you've had
definitely.
an incredible journey of being able to do all these different types of things and explore, and that has led you into the work that you're doing now. Since you left the military, you are now over at Maryville University and you are the program director for the Veteran Accelerator Program at Maryville University. Could you tell us what that is?
Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
And my military career and my civilian government career actually led to me going to working this. When I left, I have finished my career in the civilian service right here at the mapping agency, as they say here in St. Louis, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Finished that up.
That's the G.I. Joe headquarters for everybody that's not familiar with St. Louis, man. They got some secret whiz-bang stuff out there.
I thought they were the American 007.
Is that what it is?
That's what I thought.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know I've seen they have we won't get into that. I've seen some crazy stuff. I used to live down there in Imperial and I saw some things a few times like, holy cow, I didn't know that was here.
Can't talk about those
Okay,
type of
well, we
things
won't.
now,
All the
but it's very interesting, culture and whatnot, because coming from Washington, D.C., where, you're very much called the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, here you're called the Mapping Agency, and that's how
Yeah.
people relate. But so I really am a transplant here to St. Louis, and my husband and I decided to make this place our home. And when Maryville University came to talk to me, I was like, okay. So my last couple of years in the Army Reserve were at the 75th Innovation Command. And the whole idea there was to bring new technology innovation into the Army, to modernize the Army. And as reservists, we have that access across the board in our civilian life. And some of us were entrepreneurs, some of us are just business builders, others were research and development, like I had worked in. And so that was my Army career. And that kind of blended into my government civilian career, where I also worked in tech and research and development for many years. It was just very much a next step for me to work with veterans and also with technology and business building. There's a really great program I want to tell your audience about.
Yes,
it's
let's hear it.
called Stanford Ignite, and that's out of Stanford University in California. They offer veterans a special post 9/11 program where for 30 days you learn how to be an entrepreneur, and you have the best faculty from Stanford University there. You have reach back to access at a very much discounted price. They are forward paid, so successful entrepreneurs pay the larger full price, whereas veterans post 9/11, and any veteran actually, get a very good $2,500 price
That's
for
really awesome.
this.
So they're learning how to do entrepreneurship. Now, are these people
Absolutely.
that already have a business background in some way, or they're already a business owner? Are these just people that are like, this is something I want to learn about and go do?
Yes, that is exactly right. They want to learn about and go do. A lot of them are service members just coming out of service, wondering what are they going to do. They're now into a new life, civilian life. You don't have the infrastructures that you have in the military.
Right.
You're looking for your network. You're looking for your purpose again. So this really was filled with, we build a company actually while you're there. You're in a cohort group.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is more than just learning how to be an entrepreneur. This is actually from the business school. Yeah. And you learn the basics of business, finance, et cetera. And communication and building business plans. So it's a really excellent program for someone exploring.
That's what does that run about?
That's about $2,500, and
That's a good deal.
that is a huge deal.
That's like going to business school.
It's like
$2,500. You can't
They
beat that.
say you can't beat that. They say that it's the full program, full MBA program squashed in 30 days, and it
wow.
really is intense. So you are online the whole time.
Now, how does that integrate in with the Veteran Accelerator Program?
Excellent. Thank you. I could talk about the entrepreneurship all day long. So I'm using all of that experience that I have, both in the military. I worked in the Defense Intelligence, the Defense Innovation Unit there at the Pentagon, also bringing technologies, building new businesses, and growing them for the benefit of national security. And using all of that experience and schooling that I have to help entrepreneurs, veteran entrepreneurs, and their spouses grow businesses here in the St. Louis region. We hope to bring it further to the Midwest and then national. So the program's called the Veterans Accelerator Program. It's run out of Maryville University. I'm paired up with a pretty famous entrepreneur, Dan Lauer.
Yep.
And he is famous for creating the water babies. So he is very much an entrepreneur, successful businessman. And I'm taking that veteran knowledge and understanding and networks to help him create this. We are creating this program. The differentiating piece about this is this accelerator program is actually based out of the universities. It's university backed. There's academics behind it so that you can actually get some solid foundations from the academic standpoint. And also, what's really interesting and differentiating is that these entrepreneurs will get $50,000 in capital as they're finishing the program. So that capital is actually money that they can use to buy software, build rent.
Is this like a Shark Tank thing where you're competing with the other students that are in the accelerator, or how does it work?
Absolutely. So we will have when the call goes out, everyone can apply online. We'll have some battle buddies to help you apply as well. That's another component of this, is we're going to have veterans that are helping veterans, walking that journey with them. We expect about 400 applications. From there, we will only be able to down select. We'll only be able to bring in about 10 that we can bring through the program. And so the program entails one-on-one interactions with other veteran-owned businesses like attorneys and financial folks and marketing, because we want veterans helping veterans in this idea. So anyone out there in the St. Louis community who is a veteran-owned business that can contribute to this accelerator, please do give me a call and send me a note, because we are doing some in-kind, actual one-on-one help for these veterans. So by the time they get out of this accelerator, they are ready to roll.
That's amazing.
And they're going to be just excelling. So there is going to be a Shark Tank. So in order to down select to those 10, there'll be a Shark Tank. We'll have industry experts available to look at those business plans. And then we're going to take what we got there and scrub it, stretch it, pull it, build it, and those veterans are going to
That's amazing.
actually
Now,
be
and this is open to veterans from anywhere?
open to veterans
So you
and their
don't-
spouses.
And spouses. Okay,
And
so you
spouses.
do not have to be enrolled at that local university. You could be a veteran with a very good business idea living in Georgia and still participate in this thing.
Absolutely. And of course, we will have our course, we'll have in person. So we'll expect you to be here in town during the 9-week program. But if you're coming in from wherever you are and you want to spend some time here in St. Louis and you have a great business plan and you can go through our Shark Tank, we're glad to have you.
That's pretty fantastic. I mean, that is a 50K.
50,000.
That is a huge boost if you're somebody trying to get stood up. So,
Absolutely.
hey guys, if wherever you are in the country, we're gonna promote this, and as these details roll out, we will make this information available through all the Grunt Style Foundation and our Everett Warriors channels. If that's something that speaks to you, maybe you're a aspiring entrepreneur. Man, that's a killer opportunity right there, folks.
And if you have a business, you can give us a call and you have an opportunity to jump in and sponsor this accelerator.
Before we wrap up, can you give me an example of a previous winner? What was an idea that came through and won the day?
Absolutely. So here, I'll give you a local example. A group, a young woman had a business called Posy Pot, and it went from just an idea, a 3D printed idea, and going through this accelerator, she now is selling online, has a burgeoning business, and is just kicking it in the market.
Fantastic. Well, there's a success story. I don't know, Roy. Let's put together a business plan. Let's apply.
Let's do it. I can't wait to see it.
What time are we supposed to use to do that?
Well, you're going to be in Milwaukee, so I'll take half. You take half. How
Gotcha.
about that?
All right, we'll reconvene on Sunday.
Yeah. All right. There we go. We got at least 2 applicants
Excellent.
right here. sitting at
Roy,
the table
don't
here.
worry. Entrepreneurs think all the time 24/7, so you have plenty of time.
Even when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
24/7. All right, everybody. That is Colonel Beth Sweet, and that is the Veteran Accelerator Program over at Maryville University. Where can people find out more information?
Yes, please email us directly at bsweet, that's BSWEET, at maryville.edu, and I will talk to you directly.
All right. There you have it, folks. You heard it here. I think we're found ourselves at the end of the program now. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in today and spending some time with us. Roy, you got any parting words that we need to make sure the IW crowd hears before we go?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you again,
Excellent.
Beth, for coming in today. Thanks, Roy, for being here. Thank you, Justin, for jumping in. And thank all of you for joining us. We will be back next week on Friday at lunchtime. Same bat channel, same bat place. Until then, everybody, stay waxy. We'll see you next time. Take care.